At some point, all of us, well, rather let me say most of us to be safe, most of us, we wanted to create flying cars, swimming aeroplanes, and we wanted to be the people that are in the front line of a, I don't know, human rights movement or a march that matters. At some point, we all wanted to be great. And then as we get older, we split into two groups, right? Some people, they continue on that journey, while others, they settle into their lives. And this is not that speech where I say, don't settle for less. This is not that, okay? So you can relax. But as we settle, and we settle into our lives and we become whosoever we feel called to become, and that's okay. But I want to argue that our significance doesn't change. We don't stop being significant, and our significance is not based on who we become, but our significance is based on how we raise children. So as much as you may not have children of your own, but you will be an aunt, an uncle, a mentor. If you're very lucky, like I am, you get to be a teacher. And how children show up is a true reflection of the community that raised them. And when I say how they show up, I'm not just talking about grades and athletics, but I'm talking about how they choose to use words, how they will express themselves, how kind they are to others is a reflection of the environment and the community that raised them. So the big conversation is, how are we raising children to ensure that the world is kinder, to ensure that the world is safe, to ensure that the world is a good place for everyone. Because that's what matters. I'm not saying the flying cars and the swimming airplanes don't matter, but I'm saying we need kind people. So there are 3 things that I want us to look at today. Just 3. And it's not a 10 steps to being a great parent and to having a perfect kid. This is not that. Because firstly, there's no such thing as perfect children. And it doesn't matter what you say and how you say it, you won't get a perfect kid. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm a high school teacher, so one time I tell my group of grade 10 boys, I say to them, look, I'm in a situation. I need you to go to the farm, and I teach in an agricultural school, so we have a practical. So I say to them, I need you to do something for me. Just go to the farm, split into groups, and you go to the dairy, the pigs, and the chickens. And they say, yes, Miss. I say, you guys, I need you right now because I have to be in a quick meeting, but I'll be with you when I get to the farm. So in my head, when I said it, I thought they were going to go across the rugby field, down the steps, to the farm, to the dairy, the pigs, and the chicken. They would split themselves into groups. I was a group of teenage boys. So I repeated it, and I said, you heard me, right? And you have my back. And they say, yes, Miss, we have your back. And as I look over to the rugby field, there was a big tire on the rugby field. And I see a group of teenage boys rolling around in this tire. And I see them pushing each other to the rugby field, across the rugby field, down the steps. And when I get to the farm, I just see masses moving from one end to the next. And of course, now the farm is upset because it's chaotic. And I'm saying this to say sometimes the children they're not perfect. They are not perfect. And it doesn't matter what approach you use, you won't have a perfect child. But that's never the goal. The goal is not to raise a perfect child, but the goal is to raise a whole child. Because it is the whole child that can really make a difference. So 3 things that I want to look at. So firstly is you have to know who your village is. We say it takes a village to raise a child, and the first thing is knowing who your village is. And the key player in your village is your child's teacher. Now, when I say that, I'm not referring to the math and science teacher. I'm referring to the teacher that your child sees as a confidant. That's the teacher you want to get to know. Because that teacher is the teacher that stands in the gap for you. That's the teacher that has the power to affirm what you teach your child or to contradict what you teach your child. So you want to know that person and you want to know them well. Because that person matters. Because what this teacher does is they speak to your child in a way that their hearts can understand. And so you want to know them. And why this is important is when there's changes happening in your life. For example, you will go through a divorce, there'll be a death in the family, you will lose a job, you will move places, whatever the change is, when you cannot show up to be the best parent, this teacher can stand in the gap for you. This teacher can do that for you. Because you know what? you are on the same team with this teacher. So having a relationship with your child's teacher is so important because it helps you. One, you get to know your child. They get to tell you what kind of a child they see at the school, and you get to confirm or question if is it the same individual you have at home. So for example, it works like this. I say the parent plants the seed, and it is the teachers that waters it. And it's like then you have this blooming person because they're getting support when they get from school to home, they're still being supported. And the second thing is being intentional. You have to say, I'm being an intentional parent. I'm trying to raise somebody who I will give away, the best giveaway. And what I mean by that is every child, you will give away your child to the world, whether you're giving them to a job, you're giving your child away to a partner, you're giving your child away to friends. And you want to know that you've raised the best friend anybody could have ever asked for, the best employer or employee that anybody could have ever asked for, because you were intentional with what you exposed your kid with. And what is important by being intentional is you have to be careful of how you affirm your kid. Are you affirming what they do, or are you affirming who they are? Because that matters. If you focus on affirming what they do, you're going to have a performer. You're going to have a kid who is an excellent athlete or an excellent mathematician, but cannot be kind to people, but is mean and is rude. And so when you're being intentional with your parenting, it means you pay attention to how they speak about other people. You're paying attention to what are they saying about their friends. You're paying attention to their opinions, because it's in these little opinions that you pick up what's really, really going on. And the last one is to heal. There's a beautiful saying that says, hurt people hurt others, and heal people heal others. And so as a parent, if you're going to get it right, you're going to have to heal. Because there are some issues that will show up in your child's life that is really your stuff. And parents will go, they're going, why is my teenager so angry? And it's like, no, that's your thing. That's just your thing showing up in your child's life. And so if we're going to get it right, is you're going to have to heal. You're going to have to deal with the difficult situations, because that thing will show up in your child's life. Again, I'm going to say this. Not because you're going to have a perfect kid, but because you're going to have a whole kid. You're going to have a kid who watched mommy or daddy making the mistakes and learning from them and being open about it and not letting their mistakes direct their path further. And they will get the opportunity to do that, because as you let your light shine, you allow your child to let their light shine. And so, you may not create flying cars and swimming airplanes and be at the front line of a human rights movement. And you may not even raise somebody who does, but you can raise a kid who shows up for other people. You can raise a kid who is compassionate. You can raise a kid who is kind. You can raise somebody who, when they walk in the room just lights up. You can do that. There's a great saying by Muhammad Ali that I love, and he says, your service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. And I want to say, how you raise your children is the gift you give to the world. To say thank you for every rainy day when there was an umbrella. We want to say thank you for every shade that showed up on a sunny day. Thank you.